All right, what's up, family? Welcome back to My Family Academy. I got a video here that I'm about to go ahead and do from my phone, my first video from my phone. But this video is about the history of Willie Jean Keller. This is who who I know is Willie Mitchell, but his name should be Willie Keller Jr., which is his true name. My favorite big cousin. This is his father. I remember meeting Keller when I was a little kid at Granny's house, man. And look, let's take a look. He looks his his offspring look just like him. Let's take a look. Uh-oh. There he is. Bam. Look like Willie Jr. So he's Willie Sr. And then you got Willie Jr. And then you got Willie the second, which is Lil Willie. And all y'all look just alike, and I see Isaac in that smile right there too. So, but let me pause and let's get into the facts and the history. And I hope you learned something. It's gonna be some things in here that you didn't know, and there's some things that hopefully I can get some help from Willie to clear up as well. So let's get into it. I'm gonna try to make this as concise as possible. Okay, so this person right here, some white woman set this up in 2013 on Ancestry.com. I just found this online, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, she'd already did some story here. I don't know who had her do this. I don't even know if anyone knows her, but her picture is right here. That Ann Irvin. So and yeah, she's just some random white woman that helps people do research on this platform. I'm the family expert on this platform since I've been doing this since 2009. So I'm gonna go ahead and clear up some things better, hopefully. So here's his life story according to Ancestry.com. Willie Jean Keller was born March 6, 1928 in Louisiana, the son of Clementine and Tom. He had two sons and two daughters with Wanda June Brown. Now that's where I'm confused right there. So I'm gonna be giving you a call, big cuz, and we gotta clear this up. I don't know who that is. Wanda June Brown. He died on October 29th, 1985 in Seattle, Washington at the age of 57. So his father's name was Tom Keller, and his grandfather's name was also Tom Keller. So the senior and the junior is definitely passed down in the lineage through the Keller family. And then here it says that he had 3 children with Wanda June Brown. And then this information is private, unfortunately. So that's why we're gonna have a conversation, because I don't know if you know anything about this. This is the first I've seen. Now, again, another thing that's unclear to me is I was told that Tom Keller was married to a Cleo, or a Cleomos, I think is what Clemos is what Wooly told me. And then I got Clemenstein here. But later in the video, I'll show the records that I have marriage-wise, where it was actually Willie Keller Sr. who married a Cleo less. I'll show you that. I'll go through this in order. But so there's his birth, 1928, in Louisiana. The Keller family had long lineage in Louisiana. I'm gonna show you those records too, going back as early as 1870. I think that's the earliest census I have for his great grandfather. His residence in 1940 was Alexandria, Louisiana, and he unfortunately passed at the young age of 57 here in Seattle, Washington. I'm 51. So many of us have already outlived our parents. Willie, you've already got 10 years on your father right now today. Man, he was young. 1985 is when he passed away, and October 29th in 1985. So let me get into the history of his father, which would be your great grandfather, and then his grandfather, and then his father, who was Tom Jr. And let me just share what I got here. Okay, so here we go. This is Thomas Keller Sr. So this would have been Keller's his great grandfather. So this was his father's father, because both of his grandfather and father's name was Thomas. Just like all y'all got the same name, Willie. So see, it's family generations. It's passed through the lineage of the family. That's why it's very important to know our ancestry and our history, and to respect the names from the men that brought us here. Man, it's no better history than understanding your own. So that's why I like to do these videos and help clear up the ambiguity that a lot of us have garnered through the generational curses, unfortunately through divorce and the single mom movement, and a lot of women having control of households today has really put us in a position where things are very confusing, and we don't understand the importance of honoring both our father and our mothers, because if we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the both of them. So I like to always stress that in all these videos, how important that is, regardless of what we believe they did for the good or bad. Bottom line is we wouldn't be here without our father and our mother. So Thomas Keller in 1870, he was 8 years old. Now, again, in my previous videos, I always like to stress how this is supposed to be 5 years after slavery was supposed to be ended. Slavery allegedly ended in 1865 through the Emancipation Proclamation, from what we're told, when we were all supposed to be on plantations owned by white people, getting beat with whips. But I don't find that anywhere in any of the family history from the Mitchell side, from the Williams side, and now from the Keller side. I haven't found it on my side, which is last name Black, and even my mother's marriage name, which is my sister Yolanda. There's no even history of slavery on the Elegant side, which is the name that I have, which I shouldn't have. My name should be Black, just like your name should be Keller. So he was 8 years old in 1870, birthplace Louisiana, and so he was Black, and of course. But look at all these Kellers on this page. Look at all these Kellers. There was a Simeon Keller, a Charity Keller, Jonah Keller, John Keller, Frank Keller, Albert Keller, a Nancy Keller, Thomas Keller, who was the great grandfather of Keller. I mean, the great grandfather of Willie Keller, Willie Keller Jr. See, it gets confusing even trying to say it. This was Keller's grandfather. This was his father's father. And I'll show you. I'll clear that up in the next clip. And then there was a Warner Keller, a Bryant Keller, and a Lucy Keller. So look at that whole lineage of Kellers there, and nowhere in any of these records do I find that these individuals were slaves. They all were farmers, and they all lived on this farm. According to this record right here, they were all merely just farm workers. I don't get any indication that they were getting beat with whips. Let's zoom in here. Right there, see? Farming, farm labor. And the women kept house, keeping house, farmer. All these check marks here so that they had voting rights. They were citizens. I don't see anything when you hear about, our ancestors were getting beat with whips and they died for the right to vote. And that's all a bunch of bullshit from what I see as far as our family history. I don't see that anywhere in the records. But I wanted to go ahead and show that, and let's move up to the next census. Okay, fast forward 30 years. So we were just in the 1870 census. We are now moving forward 30 years to the 1900 census. So here we are in the 1900 census. And We got Thomas Keller. He's 30. In this census right here, I think he was 8. Some of these numbers be a little off, but um and I've had to confirm that I had the right people here, but I can confirm that because I had to look at the names in the census. And it took me a lot of hours to figure all this out, but this is something that I enjoy doing. So Thomas Keller, he was 30. His wife was Nancy Keller. Her maiden name is Ballard, and they never divorced. From what I can see, they stayed together till their dying days. So this is Thomas Keller and Nancy Keller, and Lorena Keller was a daughter that they had. They had a Lucy Keller. They had Gussie Keller, Alberta Keller, and then Martha Keller was Thomas Keller's mother. So right here, uh, right there, she was 78. So in 1900, she was still living with her son and his wife. So again, the 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 family stayed together back in these days, and we were just so far from this today. I mean, we were even like this back in the 70s and the 80s growing up, at Granny's house. I have relationships with so many people in the family from meeting them there. Like I said, I remember Keller there, and everyone was always welcome at the house, and even though some of the adults had split up, like, they still communicated together. It wasn't all this dysfunctional just craziness that we have today that is so sad. And there's a certain sect of people that are perpetuating that through media, television, movies. And I'll just say that that sect of people, they go by J, and their last part ends in an ish. J ish, you ish. They seem to own and control everything, and I'll just leave it at that. But let me go ahead and go into the next census here, which is going to be I think the 1910. So this is the 1900 census. Thomas Keller, that would have been your great grandfather. All right, now we fast forward another decade from 1900 to 1910. And now we have Thomas Keller Jr. Now, this was Keller's father. Thomas Keller Jr. was his father. Thomas Keller Sr. was his grandfather. So, Thomas Keller Jr., he was born in about 1902 in Louisiana. He was 8 in 1910. And let's take a look at what the family looked like about 10 years after um, the 1900 census. So again, it's common in these censuses for some of the information to get kind of butchered just from how the information was collected by census takers. You got to understand it was not our ancestors giving or entering this information. It was a government employee called a census taker that was taking this information as they went household to household. So this was the government collecting information on our ancestors. So we had Thomas Keller. So they had just, it was 0. That was just, so this record just kind of got butchered. But Nancy Keller, there's his wife, 40. Lucy Keller, there's a daughter, she's 12. Now, in the last one, I had to take a look. There was a Lorena Keller, but I believe Lorena might have passed away because she's not in this census. And so, back in these days, unfortunately, sometimes folks did pass away. So I know that when I see someone in one census and I don't see them in another one, either they might have possibly passed away or they went on to start a family of their own. But either way, I had to confirm that these were all the same people by comparing the names and the previous census. So there's Lucy Keller, there's Gussie Keller, there's Alberta Keller, there's Addie Keller, and then there's Thomas Keller Jr., which is Keller's father, and then they had Alan Keller, and then there was Lee Keller, and then there was Wesley Keller. So within those 10 years from the previous census, they had another 5 children. So it seems common that the ancestors back in these days, man, they might have worked real hard, but they sure made sure that they was having sexual relations because they had kids. There was a kid born about every year, so there was no abortion, there was no birth control, there was none of these things that have been implemented by people who don't look like us that has systemically been done through Planned Parenthood and the medical system and whatnot. It wasn't our ancestors and our family members that came up with these systems. You see what I'm saying? It was someone else. Someone else is controlling the outcome of what the family looks like in this country. And it's obvious when you start doing the history, when you just look at our history and our family lineage, you'll see like, man, I mean, we were very prosperous. We were very fruitful and multiplying. And we all lived on farms and farmed and had skills farming and being self-sustainable and self-sufficient. Whereas today, you know, we're quote unquote educated and working for these big corporations and don't know how to do any of the things that our ancestors knew how to do. I don't know how to take care of no animals. I don't know how to grow no plants. I don't know how to grow no vegetables, no food, no farming. We don't have any of that. But the Keller family was huge here in 19 what was this? 19 1910. So I'm going to fast forward to the next one. But Thomas Keller Jr., that is Keller's father, Thomas Keller Jr. All right. I'm not quite sure who his mother was, but I believed it was Cleo. But I'm going to show you where the confusion is that we got to clear up. Let me pause. Okay, so now we fast forward another 10 years, another decade to 1920. And here in the 1920 census, Tom Keller is listed at being 25. This is Tom Keller Jr. See, there's Tom Keller Sr. right here. He's that's he's 60. And Nancy Keller, she's 51. Like I said, they stayed together. There's Keller's dad, Tom Keller, and then there was Addie Keller, there's Alton Keller, there's Lee Keller, there's Weston Keller. He's 11 in this one. In the last census, remember, he was 0 because they just had him 10 years before this. So see, that's why I knew that these were the right people by looking at the all the children in there. And then they had another kid after Weston. They had James Keller. Now our ancestors was having children all the way through their late 40s, and women were having children all the way up to their 40s. So for her to have James Keller, if she's 51, that means that she had him when she was like 45. And so see, they still were fruitful and multiplying even into their latter years. Whereas now today you got so many childless women. Unfortunately, there's some in the family. There's no disrespect to any women in the family that happen to be childless, but it's been systemically done through this eugenic system. And if you don't know what eugenics is, look it up. That's Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger. There's been a system put in place to reduce the population. It's population control. This is all, I know it sounds like a conspiracy, but when you do the family research and lineage, man, you'll see that these conspiracies are actually not conspiracies at all. They're actually real if you understand your family history. So that's why I say on this channel, My Family Academy, there's no greater history than understanding your own. It's just the truth. But where I don't know, I'm not sure where Tom Keller and his wife had Willie Keller. I haven't found those records yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and move forward into the next records that I do have. Okay, and then so I wanted to go to the 1940 census. So this is about 20 years, 2 decades after the last census. And you'll see here Thomas Keller, he was 73. Now this is Thomas Keller Sr. Okay, this was Keller's grandfather, his father's father. So here in this census, Weston Keller, who was one of the youngest, who was one of the youngest children that they had, he is now the head of the household. His wife is Delphine Keller. His wife is 36. And then they had a daughter, Loretta Keller. And then look who lived with them. Their parents, Thomas Keller and Nancy Jane Keller. So the youngest son took in his parents. And this was something that I see as common amongst our ancestors back in the day. Whereas today, everything is individualized. Everybody's trying to get their own. Everybody's trying to get ahead on their own. We can't even come together and get one house together and all contribute to paying for that. This is what our ancestors were doing. Now, if we were doing that today, we'd be in so much better shape. But everybody's trying to get their own. Everyone's on an individual level, and this has all been done systemically. But let me go into some more information about the Keller history. So, and here's another quick update. So, Thomas Keller Jr., he also was uh, he had his draft registration card for, it looks like, World War I, I believe. But I like this because it says here, it gives a little more descriptions about his physical appearance. So it says his physical build was slender. Yeah, and I remember Keller being slender, and my cousin Willie, you guys got that slender build. Height, he was medium. Hair color black, eye color black. His relative Thomas Keller, that was his father. So that was Thomas Keller Sr. This is Thomas Keller Jr. And then I saw that you saw that video that Keller was also in the military. So see, the men were following the examples of the men that they saw set before them. And it's just very interesting to see these similar patterns. But I thought I'd just go ahead and show this. This was cool to look at. Okay, so now this is where I'm confused as to who this Cleo um person, who was Cleo. So in this record right here, I have Willie J. Keller, who is Willie's father. Okay. I have him getting married in July 18th, 1951 in Louisiana to a Cleo Les. Now, Willie told me someone's name was Cleo, but I thought that Cleo was supposed to be the wife of Keller's father, Tom Keller Jr. But from these records, it looks like Keller married Cleo Les, and then she became Cleo Keller. And then I can confirm this. This was in Louisiana, but let me pull up the next record that I found for them in Seattle. So, bam, in this U.S. directory right here, I got a Cleo Keller, okay, and female, residence year 1958 on 4416 Sears Drive in Seattle, Washington, and the spouse is Willie Keller. So I need clarification on this because these records show that it was Willie Keller Sr. that married a Cleo Les, who became Cleo Keller. And then I also happen to find a marriage record for Willie Keller and my auntie and most folks on the Williams side, grandmother, Ola Mae. So let me show that, and then I'll go ahead and end this video and send it out. So, like I said, some of these records get butchered as far as the names, but this says Ola Mae Williams, but they just butchered the name. That's Ola Mae. That should be Ola Mae Williams, okay? So, gender, female, age 32, birth date 1930. I got all these information confirmed in previous videos. It says residence date about 1962 in Seattle, marriage date about 1962, and the spouse is Willie Jean Keller. So it says here that they were married in 1962. But in the other record, it says that he was married to a Cleo Keller, and they got married in Louisiana and moved here to Seattle and lived here for some time, and then don't know what happened there. But when that relationship ended, and he entered in relations with Auntie Ola Mae, who is the mother of Willie Willie Keller Jr. See, that's why you should go by the man's name. We shouldn't be having another man's name. You should have your father's last name. It makes it easier to understand your lineage and whatnot. But because a woman always takes the name of the men that she's with. So, and she should only be with one man technically. And that's that's the primary aim. But because that's the woman's role is to sustain the man's name. That's why it's confusing in the Bible when you read in Genesis, when it goes through all those scriptures talking about so and so begat so and so begat so and so, because that's giving you the lineage of that family line. And how would Moses, who wrote the book of Genesis, how would he know the full lineage of Adam and Eve when he wasn't even alive when he wrote about them in the book of Genesis? So that lets you know that a higher power, the Most High, had to have told him that information, because how would he give all those names when you get all them scriptures talking about so and so begat so and so begat so and so begat so and so? Someone had to have been alive to know all that history, and Moses wasn't, because our lives as men is finite. So there must have been an infinite power that gave him that information. So again, that's why I like to go through these records and give you the history, because it really helps you have a greater understanding of how important it is to know where we came from. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and reach out after you watch this video here. I hope you learned something, but we need to find out who was really married to Cleo Less, or who was Cleo Keller, because it definitely wasn't Keller's mother. But hopefully I come across some more records to find out more about his mother and father, Tom Keller Jr., and whomever he was married to and had Keller and all his siblings that Willie shared with me. Okay. But I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next video. All right. I'm out.